What's up, everybody? Welcome to Around the Diamond. This is your host, Steve, joined as always by my co-host, Kevin Bohannon. And we are super excited this week to be joined by the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Bubba Carpenter. And Bubba, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Man,
Doing good.
Living the dream in this quarantine life. What about you, Kevin?
Oh, man, baby girl be so tomorrow and just trying to get through night by night. It's like Bill Murray and Groundhog Day. Wake up, it's quarantine day. So, yeah, but everything's going good. Things look like they're moving in the right direction. We got some news about there might be some baseball come June at the youth level, and we'll talk to Bubba about that. So everybody's really getting kind of antsy to get back outside and get on the diamond.
Well,
That's right. Hey, I got to correct you real fast, Steve.
Okay.
You said the voice of the Razorbacks. I'm the voice next to the voice.
There you go.
Bill Nelson is the voice of the Razorbacks. I'm just the voice next to him. So he is the real voice of the Razorbacks. So sorry, I had to correct you there. I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. I get corrected plenty, so I'm used to it. But
Well, there's a lot of color in the color analyst,
yes.
Well, I've been called a lot of things, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, when we had him on a couple weeks ago, he said it's the best arranged marriage he's ever had. So would you agree with that?
Arranged marriage. Wow, I like the way you described that.
Right.
You know what? It's amazing. We're two totally different people, but I tell you what, we have a love for baseball. We have a love for Razorback baseball, and it's funny. We just nitpick at each other nonstop, but it's kind of like being for guys that have been in a clubhouse, they know what it's like. You're constantly dogging your teammate. You're making little comments. You're always getting at them with something. That's kind of how Phil and I are in the booth. It's kind of like our own little clubhouse where we're constantly getting on each other. But boy, we have a lot of fun, and I'm blessed to be up there with him. It was funny how it happened. I got asked a few times to do it in 2018, and my wife and I are like, look, I told my wife, there's no way I can do it. I just don't have time. I got too much going on right now. And then Norm DeBryan called me one day and asked me to do it. I actually had written a letter saying I couldn't do it, or typed up an email saying I couldn't do it. And Norm DeBryan called me and asked me one day about it. And I'm like, I couldn't tell him no. And so I ended up doing it, but it's been so much fun. Phil and I have a great time up there. And I hope that people like listening to it, because I've got so many memories growing up of listening to games with my grandpa. We used to sit out in the truck and listen to Texas Ranger games on AM radio, and you could barely hear it, but boy, it was so much fun sitting there with him. And so, a lot of times I think about that. I think about the parents sitting around with their kids listening to it. I remember sitting in a boat with my dad listening to Razorback games after I quit playing, and just so many good memories. And so I hope people enjoy what we do on the air.
We do.
And that's what. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of fun. We love listening. We talked a lot about that, of course, with Phil, but we love. I do, and I know most everybody I talk to loves listening to you guys. You talk about memories and stuff like that, and I think about all the different times that we spend listening to the game on the radio versus watching it on TV just to listen to you guys, or and you talk about memories. We have a funny one from back on our other podcast we do. We were talking about, now this was the Miracle on Markham talk, but you think about places you were when things happen like that. I remember I was standing right on the bank of a shit pond, listening to the final play of that game. So it's enjoyable to have a voice that we can relate to and listen to, and really be able to describe the action, but also the fun and the interaction that you guys have, that you and Phil have, is a lot of fun as well.
Well, that's good to know. And, it's hard sometimes because, you guys are both baseball guys, so you understand. Like, my whole life, I've talked a certain way. Like, if there's a pitch right down the middle of the plate, there's a lot of ways to describe that pitch, and most of them I can't say on the radio. And so sometimes I get caught up, and I'm like, that's a 2-0 cock shot. You can't miss that. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can't say that.
Yeah, you can't say that on live radio. Podcast is good because, we understand that.
That's right. Hey, we had Jason Brown on from Last Chance U not long ago, so there's really not much that can be said on a podcast anymore that can hurt us.
Okay, well, I'm good to go then. Well,
Yeah.
I'll keep it clean for you guys. But it was funny. I said it a couple of years ago. It was my first year. We were in the SEC tournament, and Jared Gates was up to the plate. And I love Jared Gates. And he was late on a couple of fastballs. He got a 2-0 fastball right down the middle, and he was late on it. And I was like, hey, when you're an SEC first baseman, you can't be late on a 2-0 cock shot right down the middle. And Phil looks at me like, yeah, and he
I
was
remember
like,
that.
I just tell you. And Norm DeBryan texted me, and he was laughing. He still gives me a hard time about it. Dave Jorn was scouting a Big 12 tournament at OU at the time. And he was listening to the game while he scouted. And he's texting me. He's like, cock shot, I love it. He said, keep it coming. But, I blurt stuff out every once in a while, and I try to keep it clean. But sometimes I get so caught up in the action, and I'm just used to seeing things and just saying, and I have to catch myself sometimes. But it's a lot of fun, though. And we're so lucky to talk. We're so blessed, the team that we have on the field and the coaching staff and everything. I'm lucky to get to sit there and talk about Razorback baseball.
Yeah, it's been a really good marriage, like Phil had said. So, Bubba, what does a day in your life look like right now? I know we talked earlier today, and you were out dragging a field. So, what have you been doing to keep the time?
I've been doing a lot of second grade math, fellas, which is just killing me.
Man.
I realize I'm lucky to be able to teach baseball also, because I have a whole new appreciation for teachers, because I can sit there and talk about baseball mechanics. I can teach baseball from sun up to sundown, and I love it. And you give me 5 or 10 minutes of second grade math, and me and my 8-year-old about to kill each other. And it's crazy. And I just have zero patience for it because math is done different these days, I guess. And like the word problems are kryptonite to my brain. And so that's a big part of my day. And then other than that, I've got a few baseball fields that I'm keeping up, and we've still got a couple of teams that get together, and they get in small groups of 5, and a coach will take their son and a couple other kids out there, and they'll do a little bit of stuff just to get outdoors and do some stuff. And so I try to keep the fields in shape, since we can't really do anything inside right now. And that's kind of the extent of my day. A little bit of training. I do a lesson here or there, one-on-one stuff with some of my high school kids. And, just so everyone knows, we keep it safe. We're the way I teach now is different than it was a couple months ago. Less video work up close and everything. So it's a lot more just pitch recognition stuff and trying to stay as active as I can in baseball and keep my sanity. It's a weird time of year. You realize how much you love the game when it's not there. And I'm like, wow, it sucks, because my whole life this time of year has been baseball, and now all of a sudden it's not there, and it's tough to get used to.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel your pain with the elementary math. I have a first grader, and yeah, I've about had all I can take of being a teacher over the last few days. So thankfully we got started on the online learning for the most part over this week. But today he had to sit down and do stuff in a math book, and while he loves math, he does not like sitting down and doing stuff on a math book. So when I told him he had 12 pages to do, it was interesting, to say the least.
Well, I feel your pain.
Yeah, no doubt. So how special do you think this 2020 baseball team could have been? I mean, I remember being in Omaha in 18, and after all that ended, and we thought you immediately, I know Dave Van Horn came out, but we immediately looked forward to this team, knowing how special the class could have been, along with, and then teaming that up with Martin, Kerstad, and Opids and the rest of this team. How special do you think this 2020 team could have been?
I tell you what, I think they'd ended up back in Omaha for the third year in a row. This team had something special, and the 2018 team, I love those guys, just a great group of guys. This group reminded me of that team. Obviously you've got some All-Americans on the team, but you've got some leaders on the team. You've got guys that know how to play the game. You've got a good mix of new guys they brought in. You got a guy like Robert Moore as a freshman that's just electric, watching him play. You got great arms. I think the one question mark was the starting pitching, and Wicklander was struggling a little bit, but there's no doubt he was going to get it back together. Connor Nolan was going to be your Friday night guy. several different options on the Sunday spot, whether it's Caleb Bolden, Cole Ramage, whoever, maybe a freshman stepping up. McIntyre looked great in that game that he started. He's a Central Arkansas kid. I just think this team had everything it took, and they would have come together. And Dave Van Horn is the best at just, kind of mixing things around early in the season. But once SEC ball starts, I mean, they flip that switch and they're ready to go. And boy, I was really excited about this team. And, I feel for the guys that this had to happen because I know how hard they worked. I saw them working this fall, and they put in a lot of time, on the field, but in the weight room, and to see it taken away from them, it was tough to see. I hated to see it.
So and we talked about this last week on the show, with the draft being 5 rounds, how do you think this team will look next year with the incoming classes and who they have coming back?
Oh, it's going to get crowded, guys. It's going to be real crowded. I think we all know we're going to lose 3 guys for sure. I think Casey Martin, Heston, and Casey Opitz, they're going. They're gone. I think out of the new guys coming in, I think a guy like a Zebulon Vermillion, I think he'll come back. I think this really hurt him, the season being cut short. But he's a top 5 pick had he got more innings in. He had a hamstring injury. I think this really hurt him, but I think we'll get him back, which will be our closer next year. But you look at that 2020 group, and Kevin, a lot of these guys, that's a special group we got coming in.
Really is.
Yeah, but if you look how crowded things are going to get, I hope that doesn't make some of those guys kind of rethink their decision, because if you look at the 2020 roster this year, I think there were 16 freshmen listed on there. Now, they didn't all, make it to spring ball, but there were 16 freshmen listed on there, and I think there's like 20 signees coming in. So it's going to be crowded. There's a lot of tough decisions. I know some of the kids will end up going somewhere else. I think Van Horn will have some talks with them, but that's a lot of talent out there on the field, and I think and some of those kids, Kevin. Hopefully, you've got some input with them, because I'd love to see a lot of those kids make it to campus. Because you take what we had this year. Now it's going to be tough to replace 3 guys. Casey Opitz is a captain. He's a tough guy to replace behind the plate. I think that's going to be a big question mark. Casey Martin special. We know Heston special. But you replace those 3 guys with some of the guys coming in, and I'm telling you, that team is stacked. That's a ridiculous team. But you got to also look at the rest of the SEC kind of in the same boat. There's going to be a lot of talent in college baseball next year. But I'm looking forward to it. I tell you, like Phil and I talked a lot, and you take things for granted. And now that we've missed a year of college baseball, I can't wait. I'm already foaming at the mouth. I'll be out there this fall watching them play just because I miss it so much.
Definitely. And, they might get – who knows what's going to happen with the draft. We know Cole Austin is going to move on. And we just found out today that Dylan Leach, who was a 2021 catcher, played for Doolin's Dodgers, who the prospect you and I have both faced in the past, is going to enroll early now. So do you see that happening as a trend? I was kind of shocked when I found out earlier today, but do you see that happening more often now, with Robert Moore kind of being the first in Arkansas's case to do that? But do you see that kind of as a trend now?
Well, I would have normally said no, because with the logjam of players that we're going to have, I would have said, probably not. But you see the success Robert Moore had. Of course, he's a special talent. The kid grew up around the game, with your dad being a GM. Dayton Moore, he's been around the game his whole life, so he doesn't play like your typical freshman. But yeah, I saw that we had signed Dylan Leach. So that kid, he's going to be good. Now, can he jump in as a freshman, early like that and catch on the SEC level? I mean, that's asking a lot of a kid. So I don't know, but I think it's a great move for him to get his foot in the door right now and come in and have a chance to fight for that starting catching job. But I think with people seeing the success that Robert had, I don't know. You might see more of it. I tell you what, guys, I couldn't have done it. What Robert did this year is so impressive, to come in and play the way he did. Because I know when I was 17, I couldn't have done it. I wasn't ready yet, physically or mentally.
I'm gonna say just the mental side of him. I mean, obviously the physical side, but the mental side for him, and just how confident he was. He never seemed phased. He never seemed bothered by a moment. You know, he was extra excited at times, obviously, but I mean, that's what you want to see out of a guy. You want to see that passion, and I think he brought a different, just a different aura around the team with him being out there for sure.
No, I think so. And, the fans really fed off of his enthusiasm. Yeah, I'm sure you guys, the glove flip play.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's next level.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And the way he ran off the field after that play, he had a home run at Minute Maid Park, to right center, bouncing around the bases, jumping up in the air. Just the excitement that he plays with and enthusiasm. I mean, that's contagious. And so for a kid that's 17 to come in and do some of the things he did is awesome to see. And that type of play is contagious. And I'm looking forward to seeing him for a few more years. And there's just so many things. And the way he plays the game, he plays it fast, but he slows it down mentally in his mind. And that's what the great players are able to do. Casey Martin, and first of all, let me say this. I absolutely love Casey Martin. I've watched him play since he was little all the way up the ranks. Casey plays the game so fast. When he learns to slow it down in his mind, like he'll take a ground ball and he's so fast, everything he does. When he learns to slow everything down in his mind, he's going to play in the major leagues for a long time because he's got unbelievable talent. I think some guys are just better at slowing it down. I think Robert does a real good job of playing the game fast physically, but mentally he slows the game down. And for a kid that young to be able to do that, man, it's so impressive because it takes a long time to learn to do that.
Yeah, it was extremely impressive to watch him. Staying on the incoming class, I had a question. We've talked about this a little bit, but obviously we know how special this incoming class is, and some of the guys, some of the names that are there, how highly rated they are. Do you think, and we've asked a few other folks, but do you think, I mean, we've talked about Mason Wynn, but some of these other guys that may not have probably wouldn't have made it to campus to, before, do you think Arkansas's got a shot at, or do you think guys, maybe not just Arkansas, but in general, that guys, that are highly rated like that may take their shot and come to college now with all this uncertainty? Or do you think you'll see more JUCO guys, or what do you think, how do you think that'll play out for some of these more higher rated guys?
Well, I'm afraid that some of these guys are going to go the JUCO route. That way they can, give it a year of college ball and then be able to get drafted the following year. But I think a lot of these guys that have committed to Arkansas, I think they're going to come to campus. I look at a guy like a Caden Wallace, Arkansas kid. If we can get all these kids to come to campus, I mean, there's something really special there. You're looking at a College World Series, and it's so hard to win a College World Series championship. But you look at all the pieces, some of the other kids in that signing class with what we've already got, some of the big arm freshmen we've got this year and some of the kids coming in, you get all those kids together. If I was in that group, now it's hard to say because I never was offered millions of dollars. I didn't get drafted that high up. So it's hard for me. Who am I to sit here and say that? But if I was in that situation, I'd go to college. I'd win a national championship for the University of Arkansas. And then I would get drafted and I'd go on and play Major League Baseball. But I would take it one step at a time. And I'm hoping that's what a lot of these kids do because I'm sure they're aware of that. I'm sure they all have their advisors that are talking to them. The problem is a lot of these advisors are going to tell them to go sign because they all want their money. I hope they're getting good advice because there's going to be some changes in the minor leagues. The minor leagues, I don't know that how much you guys have been in tune with that. There's going to be some changes, whether it's coming this next year or when it happens, but the minor league organizations are going to get smaller.
Yeah,
so there's going to be a lot of kids. Have you guys talked about that? If you have,
we talked about it a little bit, but you're the first one that we, really, got to dive into it. But I think Coach Thompson, who is a great guy as far as being a recruiting coordinator for Arkansas, and Coach Hobb as well. But they talk to these guys about investments. So let's take Caden, for example. We've talked about him quite a bit, and Clayton Gray for a matter. Clayton could sign, if he had a number right now that was $300,000. Okay, so Clayton, out of high school, you can get $300,000 for your spot. But you come to Arkansas for 3 years, you turn that into 1.2 to 1.5. In Caden's case, they possibly slotted 1.6 to 1.8 and turning that into 4 to 5 million 3 years down the road. And I think they've done a great job of selling that fact as well.
Yeah, and I think
I think so. And
go ahead, Bo.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I think also when you look at the bonus structure too, I mean, we've talked about that a lot over the last couple of weeks, but the way that bonus structure will work out too, and the uncertainties over the next year or two, especially depending on how income and how revenue picks back up once we finally get out of this stuff. But you're talking about guys only banking 10% up front of their bonuses right now and then waiting the next 2 years to get the rest of it too. So you got to think that's going to play into some mindsets as well.
Oh, I think so. And then, I think Heston Kerstad's a perfect example of that. You look at Heston, you look at like an Andrew Benintendi, all those guys. That's what they did. They gave up a little bit of money out of high school. They came to U of A. Heston's going to sign for millions this year. I mean, the guys, but the 3 years here, just of development, he got so much better, and he was good as a freshman. Don't get me wrong, but he got so much better every year. His strike zone recognition. His power to all fields. He just mentally, his defensive ability, everything about Heston got better. Same with Benintendi. Benintendi was okay as a freshman. Spent a year here in the off season lifting, getting stronger. Next thing you know, he's a first rounder. Signing for $1 million. 1.5, whatever Benintendi signed for, and we all know where he's at now. And so I think you look at guys like that, and you're like, that's the model right there that I would want to follow, because you're getting so much experience, and your development is in college baseball. I mean, these guys have all been down there on campus. They know what's in the Fowler Center. They know they know the skill set that Nate Thompson has for developing hitters. All the technology we have surrounding these guys, they don't get that in the minor leagues. I'm sorry, it's not there. If you're a pitcher, Matt Hobbs is unbelievable in developing pitchers. He can take a guy throwing 91. Next thing you know, he's throwing 96, 97. It's amazing. And just the whole physical and mental development that a kid goes through by coming to campus at University of Arkansas. Not to mention, you get for the guys that are in-state kids, you get to represent your state. And the thing about college baseball that I love so much, guys, and I talk about it all the time, it's the last time the name on the front of the jersey is worth more than the name on the back. And boy, for me, there's something to that. If you can put that Arkansas uniform on and wear it for 3 years and represent your state with a great chance to go to Omaha and win our first national championship, who wouldn't want to buy in on that? I mean, you give that to me, and I'm all in.
You can see some of the passion in these kids once they get on campus, and I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to with this next class, and even the one after that too. That's just keep building and building and building. And with that said, do you think we're in the golden era right now of Arkansas baseball as a state, and not just the University of Arkansas?
Oh, I think so. And look at the talent. Now, I don't think there's going to be. Look, Kevin, the group of guys y'all had, your 2020 group, I've watched y'all come up through the ranks. Your group is really good. I don't see another group of kids that good coming out in a while. But with that being said, there's a ton of talent in the state. I've got a 2021 group that I coach now. But we've got a bunch of kids, and I feel for these kids because they're going to go into a log jam in another year and a half. Because things are going to be crowded in college baseball for a couple of years. I feel for these kids, but man, there is so much talent in the state, and it's a good time. It's a really good time to be recruiting the state of Arkansas. And not all the guys are going to go to University of Arkansas. I mean, but look at some of the programs we have. I'm a huge Gum fan. I love UCA. Coach Gum does a great job. Coach Curry at UALR. I mean, there's just so many good options for kids around the state to go to, and there's just a ton of talent here. And I think you can go back and you can look at some of the high school coaches. You can look at the summer programs. I think everyone has a little bit of input in that, and just developing players and making them better. And that's why we're all here, and that's why we do what we do. And I think it's showing right now in the talent around the state.
Yeah, the state is absolutely loaded. You guys know that firsthand, obviously. I looked forward to getting to get out and see a lot of that talent this summer. I'm disappointed that obviously, as like everyone else, that we're going to miss out on a lot of that. But I wanted to get both of you guys' thoughts on this because you are so close to youth baseball and everything. But what are y'all's thoughts on with the Legion season being canceled, regionals and all of that for summer? What are y'all's thoughts there?
Well, Kevin, you want to go first? Or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think they jumped the gun a little bit, and they're looking at regionals and a World Series because they're out on the East Coast for the World Series over there. I believe it's North Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they just didn't see to where we could play, and it trickled down just like with everything else that's done. Major league cancels, college cancels, high school cancels. So it trickled down to where the Arkansas State Commander for American Legion said, well, we're just going to cancel the season. To where most likely they could play into June, July, and into August. But, it's about safety right now. I do believe I talked to Jeremy Mahan, who's one of the top tournament directors in the state of Arkansas for the U-Trip level. And I know Bubba is really close to the guys up in Northwest Arkansas, but they're shooting to play the 1st of June. So the showcases haven't canceled, very much. Lynn Van Laningham with 5 Tool hasn't really canceled everything. Their schedule is on go. Perfect Games only postponing for 2 weeks. So we're going to get to play some baseball. It's just a matter of when.
Right. I tell you, I talked to Lynn Van Laningham today, actually, with 5 Tool tournaments, and he got an email from U of A yesterday saying that all on-campus events are canceled until August 1st. Well, my youth team was we're supposed to play there July 16th and 19th, but we're still going to try to use Arvest Park. They're not canceling the tournament. We just can't use U of A's. We can't use Baum Walker, which is, stinks because our kids all want to play at Baum Walker.
Oh, yeah.
According to Lynn, I mean, everything's still, as of right now, they're on schedule to go with it. I talked to a couple tournament directors today on the youth side. A couple of them are holding out for May 15th. With the CDC regulations, I think coming out May 11th is their date that they're looking at right now. So they're thinking possibly they could play as early as May 15th. Now, that's being real optimistic. And look, we talk about baseball and how much everyone misses the game, and I get it. It's safety first. You don't want kids out there and someone getting sick, someone that's got an asthma or got a condition that and he gets really sick because of us wanting to rush into baseball. We're not wanting to do that. We want to be safe with it. But look, if there's a way we can get out there and play, I think these kids need it. I tell you, I got an 8-year-old son that asks me all the time when we get to play our first tournament. And you don't realize once again how much these kids love it. But hey, one thing, Kevin, and I'll tell you, you've got a kid that's affected with it. On the baseball side, on the high school side, are some of these high school seniors. Marcus Brown, Marcus plays on your team.
Oh yeah,
it's like that. They missed their senior year, and I mean it's tough on those guys. I've worked with a lot of the Shiloh kids here in Northwest Arkansas, and no disrespect to the Nashville team. Shiloh's got a great chance of winning state this year. These kids have worked really hard. They've stuck together. They got to the championship game last year, lost to Nashville. I think this was their year to win it. And so, and I know it's just a lot of these kids are destined to go on and do more. Marcus Brown's going to go on and do more. Sawyer Duddleson. A lot of these guys are going to go on and play baseball after this and go on and play college. Kellen Pay, Cole Oswald, a lot of those guys they've already signed, they're going to go play college baseball, but a lot of them, that's it. I mean, that's the pinnacle of their baseball life is, hey, we won a state championship at Shiloh in 2020. Well, that's taken away from them. And boy, I hate it. I hate it for the kids because I know how hard some of them work. In the grand scheme of things, all right, the state championship, how much, but to some of those kids, that's the highlight. I don't know. So you hate to see that taken away. And sorry, I got kind of long-winded there, but I really feel for these kids and these families. And it's a tough time, but I get it. It's safety first. and let's make sure we get this thing right, and then we all get out there on the field, start playing baseball again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, I've had a lot of people, and I've had to reach out to Kevin as well, but I've had a lot of people, messaging me, calling me, wanting to know, is there anything that these guys can do? I mean, it just sucks for them to lose this final year. And you think about that across all sports, obviously, but it's tough. One other thing I wanted to ask, just get your quick opinion on too, is what do you think about Major League Baseball and their plan to try to start in May and playing all games in the Phoenix area?
I say, hell yeah, let's do it.
Something, anything.
I knew that was going to be the answer.
Hey, Steve, you know who you're talking to here. I'll say play ball.
That's right, absolutely.
Supposedly they can keep them all quarantined there. They can all stay. It's kind of like a big, they would all be on almost like on a campus situation where they're all there in one area. There's very little, if any, contact with anyone outside of those major league players, and they seem to think they can make it work. I think if there's a way to do it and keep everyone safe, I say yes, let's do it. Let's play ball. I don't know, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, and we went out there in January and played in the Perfect Game West MLK event. So it's Surprise, Arizona. It's the spring training facilities for a lot of teams. So, and it's right there. Everything's really close to where you can have 4 ball games going on at one time, and you could have whip around coverage on MLB Network. I don't see why we haven't thought of this before. So it's not going to be spring training. It's going to be real baseball. So I'm all for it. I hope it happens, and it'll give us something to look forward to, on our level in the state of Arkansas.
Look, I'll take any sports we can get right now. I mean, UFC's trying to go play out on an island, so yeah, I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever to watch some sports at this point. Anything to give me a few moments away from and get my sanity back.
Well, Kevin, why don't you talk to Menard? He's big time. He's got to have an island, doesn't he?
There you go.
Oh, come on now, Bubba. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll put it all together. The Arkansas prospects, Northwest Arkansas prospects, we'll just go buy our own island and start having ball out there. How about that?
Now you're talking. That's what I want to hear.
Well, see, and we already know from our talk with Phil that we've got we'll have concessions handled because we got Phil, the gourmet chef, and we got Bubba who can man the grill. So we ought to be good with food and everything on the island. I think we can bring you both with us.
That's a scary thought, guys. That's a scary thought. I don't know. Can you imagine me and Phil trying to cook together? You think we argue on the radio about baseball? Put us in a kitchen together, we'll kill each other.
Man, I tell you, I'm not kidding. Phil was right when he said the best arranged marriage ever, because literally everything you guys say kind of jives with one another, because I think Phil made a comment pretty similar to that. So yeah, definitely he had it right on with the arranged marriage. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you. I'm going to ask you all a question.
All right.
What's that big yellow pole called in the outfield on each line?
That's a fair pole.
That is a fair pole. And if you hit it hard enough with enough exit velo, you'll knock it down.
Every time he calls it a fair, it's a foul pole.
I know it's a foul pole.
That drives me crazy every time. And now it's just a pole. And I'm like, Phil, where'd that ball go? I didn't see it. Well, it hit the pole. What did it hit? And I can't get him to say it. So drives me crazy, though.
Oh, I knew it would. I had to get that in there.
Yeah, you beat me to it, Kevin. You beat me to it. Oh man, well, Bubba, we appreciate your time tonight, man. It's been awesome. We love having you on. Like I said, I know that we as fans are blessed to have you and Phil calling these games, and we miss it. I miss it right now. I know I speak for Kevin probably as well right now. We miss getting to listen to you guys for every game. So 2021 or any baseball that you guys can call can't get here quick enough.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. And I tell you what, I didn't know a lot about what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing. Talking about Arkansas sports. I think that's awesome. And so y'all keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll be talking to you guys soon out on the baseball field.
Man, absolutely. Appreciate it so much, Bubba. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Take care, fellas. See you guys.
Thanks, Bubba. I appreciate it, man.
All right. See y'all.
See ya.